Welcome, I'm Lauren from Zestful Kitchen, and welcome to Everyday Gourmet, where we're making realistic recipes for the avid home cook using fresh ingredients and global flavors. And today we're making one of my favorite side dish recipes to date. We're making a king trumpet mushroom side dish. There's really not much to say other than it's really simple, but it's absolutely delicious. And it's a harmony of flavors and textures. It's buttery and savory and garlicky, little fried bits of parsley. It's absolutely delicious, and it's very simple. It's a great way to use king oyster mushrooms. They're really meaty, but they soak up a ton of flavor. So let's get started. That's so cringe, but it's fine. So the ingredient list for this recipe is very simple. You're gonna need king oyster mushrooms, also called oyster mushrooms or king trumpets or just trumpet mushrooms. But essentially they're probably gonna be the largest mushrooms you'll find in your grocery store with really thick, hearty stems. So you're gonna need about 12 ounces of these mushrooms. You'll also need a lemon, some parsley, olive oil, and butter. You're gonna want both, best of both worlds. You have your high heat cooking temp with the oil and flavor from the butter, and then just some fresh nutmeg and some garlic. So a very simple ingredient list. The next thing is you're gonna wanna get a cast iron skillet. So we're gonna preheat our cast iron skillet for about 5 minutes over medium-high heat. Preheating it is important so that there's no cold spots in your cast iron skillet and so that it's very hot when you put in the mushrooms, and that's key for sealing in any moisture that's in the mushrooms and creating a really nice sear on the bottom. So you get a nice texture on the mushrooms, and they brown really nicely, and it also just makes the whole entire process faster. Meanwhile, we're gonna prep our mushrooms. This is a very simple prep. If you have a smaller king oyster mushroom, king trumpet mushroom, you can leave this guy whole. Something a little bit bigger like these two, you'll wanna cut in half lengthwise. And if there's something in the middle, I just recommend keeping it whole because they're really beautiful when they're kept whole. So let's separate them. They're so cute. Okay. So I'm gonna take my large king oyster or king trumpet mushrooms. What are they called? King oyster mushrooms. Okay. I'm gonna take my king oyster mushroom and just cut it in half lengthwise so you have a nice flat surface for browning. And you'll just do that for all of the large ones. One thing about this recipe is you can use a range from 8 to 12 ounces of mushrooms depending on the size of your cast iron skillet. My cast iron skillet I think is a 10-inch, so I might not be able to fit all of these in, so you'll want to cook them in batches. You don't want to overcrowd the pan or else they won't brown. If you have a really large cast iron skillet like a 12-ounce or a 12-inch, then all of these mushrooms should fit nicely in there. Okay. The next thing is we're just going to slice the garlic. So I don't recommend smashing it like we would normally for mincing. You don't want to bruise it. We're gonna thinly slice it because it's actually a more mild garlic flavor. If you grate it or mince it, it's gonna be more powerful. So by slicing it, it's gonna be a nice mild flavor, and they'll get kind of nice and crunchy as they fry in the oil and butter. So once everything starts cooking, you want everything to be prepped. So you can just roll right into everything because the cook time is super quick and things can burn quickly if you are not prepared. So we're going to grate our fresh nutmeg. And I just use my microplane for this. And I think you need just about a 1/4 teaspoon. And nutmeg pairs really wonderfully with mushrooms, but it also pairs really wonderfully with butter or cream. So this is a great addition. Then we're also going to grate our lemon zest. You'll need a whole lemon grated. And this will be added at the end. So we need 1/2 cup about of fresh parsley leaves. And I recommend using flat leaf parsley for the best texture and flavor. So you'll just pull the leaves off. We don't need the stems for this recipe, though you could save them to put in like chicken stock or broth. But you'll need about 1/2 cup. All right, it is stovetop time. We're gonna add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to our cast iron skillet. Let that swirl around, and then we're going to add in our mushrooms cut side down. Ooh. All right, we're gonna let these cook without moving for about 3 minutes, and then we'll season them and start stirring them around. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, look at that sizzle. Looking good. Okay. All right, the first batch is out. A couple more tablespoons of olive oil, and then we'll add in our remaining mushrooms. Okay. We're gonna add in our first batch of mushrooms. So I'm gonna add these back in, and then we'll season the whole thing with salt and pepper, and we'll stir them around. Okay. So the goal now is to get all the mushrooms golden brown all over, and then we'll finish the dish with the butter, garlic, and all the rest of the ingredients. And I'll just sprinkle the garlic over top. And all right, I'll grab the nutmeg. Oh, it smells so good. This would be also great with pasta, so you could add in a little bit of cream at the end and toss it all with some pasta. It would be a delicious sauce. So we're just gonna let this cook until the garlic just starts to brown a little bit. You don't want it to get burnt. And we'll remove it and finish it with the lemon zest and the parsley. So we're just gonna cook it, stirring it pretty frequently, so again, that garlic doesn't burn. If you see any pieces that are burning, take them out. And what will happen is the garlic will kind of become like garlic chip-like. So they'll get nice and fried and crispy. And I would continue to keep stirring it just a little bit so they don't burn. You just want to make sure they don't burn. Okay, so we're gonna add in our parsley. It's gonna immediately start to kind of fry and pop a little bit. So let's see. And we'll add in our lemon zest. Not too much of that. And you can hear it kind of starting to sizzle. It smells so good. Okay. And that's it. That's the side dish. Everything's incorporated is how easy it is. You can transfer it to a different bowl if you want, but it's delicious just right in the cast iron skillet. Hot. Oh my God, it's so hot. Oh my God. Mm. Oh my God. They're super meaty. It's a great side dish, but it also is actually a really great entree if you are serving somebody who's vegetarian. They're so meaty. They're so savory. It's fresh, a little bit of garlic. Oh my gosh. It's the perfect side dish. It is really good. I hope you enjoy this side dish. It's a great way to get to know king oyster mushrooms. So let me know how you make it and how you serve it. You can get the full recipe in the caption below, and meet me right back here next week for another everyday gourmet recipe. I hope you have a delicious week. Not good, not good, not good, not good.